Hello explorers, and welcome to episode 5 of North Country. I'm here at the Evergreen Lodge and there's so much that I have to share with you guys, so let's just get right into it. Let me go ahead and project my display because this is going to be now episode 5. Hello, welcome back to episode 5. Let's just get right into it because there's a lot to go over. Coming from episode 4, I was working on the Evergreen Lodge, just beginning to work on it, and then in this episode I go ahead and I finish that. You can see I work on the upstairs restaurant area as I add some tables and chairs for the visitors to go ahead and take a seat. There's also some off-camera stuff that I went ahead and added too. As you can see, as I put the roof over it, I kind of go back in there and I kind of fix up some stuff. You guys will see the final product in a later episode / video. The huge focus of episode 5 is going to be on Bear Rapids. I know episode 1 I laid down the track for the ride itself, and in episode 5 I actually go ahead and build the ride. The concept and idea of Bear Rapids is essentially going to be a story about this younger bear, this baby bear that wakes up one day and his mom is gone. She's no longer in the cave, she's no longer in the nest, and he's trying to find her. The original idea for Bear Rapids was going to be so IP based, or it was going to be like very National Geographic, just going over like the life of a bear. One day I just kind of thought of the idea of making it something kind of cute where you get to see different animals, because as baby bear gets out of his cave, he's going to see different animals and he's going to be asked them, you know, have you seen my mom? Is she up high? Is she down low? Is she in here? Is she over there? Almost like a poem or a storybook, but it's going to be in a ride form. I created baby bear using just some primitives. Not my most detailed bear, but it actually worked out pretty well. I think it was just enough to kind of give it like a cuteness factor, but also still looking like a bear. The first scene is when you get out of the cave. It's just near the half dome. It's when baby bear encounters some deer, so he asks them, have you seen my mom? This section was probably one of the most challenging because it's like looping in on itself, and I need to be able to also kind of hide a little bit of the sight lines of what's going to be past North Country in the future. There was a lot of me just kind of going through making sure that rocks were tall enough and the terrain was high enough to be able to cover up, but also at the same time within the ride itself having the sight lines where it kind of like reveals the deer, reveals baby bear, and you also have to be able to read the sign the entire time too. Plus the ride itself is like a river rapid, so sometimes they'll turn. I needed to make sure that it was going to be visible while you're on the ride itself. After I finished that, there's like a little indoor cave part that you go into with some stalagmites glowing blue. Makes it feel a little bit more icy. Another thing that you'll see in this episode is a huge focus on terrain, because as you're watching the clips right now, a lot of it is just so exposed. The valley is not finished. I mean, this is all over the place, but essentially I'll go over some of the encounters. Baby bear also encounters a moose where he asks, you know, have you seen my mom? There's also going to be a scene where he encounters some like mountain goats where they're all the way up high, so he's asking, you know, is my mom up high? There's also going to be a scene where he encounters an owl, so he's asking the owl too. A wolf, he goes into a cave also where he's going to encounter some bats. Towards the end is going to be the surprise, he meets his mom. Some of the animals that I created myself, like the bear was good. And you'll also see later that I worked on a wolf. The wolf is not the greatest. Kind of reminds me of the wolf from Minecraft. I feel like even less detailed, because I feel like in Minecraft, like, you know, you kind of use your imagination, versus the wolf that I made here. He's like a bunch of cylinders kind of put together and you have to use your imagination. You know, I'm not the greatest at making all these animals. Like a lot of the times I have to go ahead and I have to download them from the gallery. The gallery does not have a lot of great animal choices to choose from, or if they do, it'll be like, this is a bear but made of 200 different pieces and 200 different primitives, whereas mine are typically between like 20 to 50. A lot of the times you can't size up or size down because there's some primitive that's like restricted to that size where you can't change it. It makes it kind of difficult because my stuff is a lot more scaled down. If this is your first time watching any of my Italian Adventure Resort videos or my theme park videos, my park is incredibly small in scale, but I use force perspective and different tricks to be able to make things look a lot bigger than they actually are. If you've seen my videos, you're probably just like, Phil, we've heard it so many times, we get it. This is just for the new you people watching. The mountain goat were probably some of the better animals that I've created myself. There's also a section too within North Country where it's not just old North Country. It actually interacts with Enchanted Village. You may have saw in the beginning of that series, I was talking about how I was going to be expanding the Mystical Beasts ride. Again, not to be confused with Mr. Beast. It's going to be like the Hagrid's motorbikes inspired ride that I already had in the park, but I decided to make it go a little bit longer now with an outdoor scene, as there was only the lift hill that started outdoors, went inside the cave, circled around in different scenes, and then it would just finish the ride there. Wanted to make the ride a little bit longer, and I wanted it to have almost like the Enchanted Forest theme that Hagrid has in like the first or second movies. That's kind of the explanation for if you see me later building Hagrid's hut. It's not part of North Country, but it kind of ties in a little bit with like the forest. So I thought that it was a nice transitional effect. I don't believe that you can see it when I've ridden the ride with the berm of North Country. In addition to a lot more rock work too, the landscaping was done. One of the biggest scenes that I had to work on, besides the one with the deer, was going to be the cave with the bats. Essentially the scene before like the big drop where he goes into the creek where the North Country exploration trail is. Then after that is where he encounters his mom. That one turned out okay. It wasn't like the best scene ever. It was a lot of space to work with, and I just kind of had to improvise a little bit. You'll see it on the ride through of the ride itself. I think it still came out pretty nice. I'm excited for you guys to see that, but one of the parts that I was very proud of was the ending with Mama Bear and Baby Bear. Essentially what I did to create Mama Bear, scaled up Baby Bear, but I had to fix some of the proportions too. Like when I scaled them up, like the head was still way too big, the neck seemed really small. It was like childlike proportions, but bigger. I had to make it look more like an adult bear, making the limbs thicker, the body bigger, the neck wider. That was pretty easy. The scene itself is, you know, Mama Bear coming out of the cave. I guess she left for a little bit. Baby Bear left. She's looking for him, but he's not there, so she decides to wait at the cave. And then he comes back and he finds her. And it's during sunset time. I put some trees in. It's lit up kind of with like golden hour lighting. I think it's a cute conclusion to Bear Rapids. And then as you turn the corner, that's where the unload station or load station is. That I think it came out really nice, a wholesome scene. I've been very proud of Bear Rapids idea because initially going into it, I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't have like an execution of how I wanted it to look. I want it to be this rapids ride that kind of circles around all of North Country. I had no idea what its purpose was going to be. Was it just going to be like this is some scenery? Is this a story, or is there just gonna be random IP kind of thrown in? Some other parts throughout the video, as I create the maps for the parks, I don't want places to look like they're just buildings, even though they are. I do have to build rocks or like put trees on top of it so that from above it looks like the continuation of the land itself. Realistically, a theme park would never do that. It'd be kind of a waste of their resources. They only go ahead and theme the places that are visible, like a set piece. Because this is a game, I can kind of do whatever I want. Realistically, the park goers on the ground, they would not see anything. And then the last piece that I worked on was finishing up the lobby for Kodiak Peak. I will do a full tour of North Country video. For me to show me building the interior parts like the locker room or whatever, it's not interesting. Plus the camera in this game doesn't really do a really great job of showing that off. It'd be incredibly dark. I'd rather do a tour video of it finished. I showed a little bit of the lobby creation, but you'll get to see everything in its entirety. That's kind of a wrap up of North Country. There is another video being made. I do still have that second attraction that I plan on possibly making in the further future. Right now I want to take a break from North Country. As much as I love it, it was a huge project. It was a huge undertaking. One of my most detailed lands in the entire park. It's so funny when I compare it to other parts of my park now because those look so blocky and so lacking of life in a way. But when you compare it to North Country, it's like day and night difference. I'm looking at you, Venice. I really need to upgrade my Venice area. Always open to feedback, always open to any other thoughts and ideas that you guys have. Feel free to comment, leave a like, and if you enjoy this video, even feel free to share it with some people. I would love to see it. All right, see you guys on the next video. Thank you for your patience with all these episodes taking longer than they typically should. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.